Embolden, number 1 says this: what significance do eyewitnesses bring to a case, and how does that translate to the validity of the New Testament? So, first of all, that first one, what significance do eyewitnesses bring to any event? Yes?
Like just another outside source, like something that's typically more unbiased?
Yeah, usually more unbiased, unless, of course, you were the cause of the broken arms. Yeah.
Specific details about a case that can only be reported by someone who saw it.
Right, right. There's certain things that only an eyewitness would know, right? That only an eyewitness would know, which is interesting that I just told you that whole story, right? Obviously, I was an eyewitness.
I think you made it all up in
there. By the way, they've kind of raised Yongsan. Most of the places I lived as a kid have been torn down, including Yongsan Army Post. So they bring credibility to the narrative. They saw the events, and so that is part of what makes them believable. Now, their character is probably a part of this as well, especially if you're trying to get yourself out of trouble. But generally speaking, especially someone who doesn't have a dog in the fight, right? An unbiased eyewitness is the best kind. When we hear about eyewitness accounts, do we generally believe them? Yeah, we do. So why not these? Why don't people believe that? They believe it when somebody says, yeah, well, he had a gun and he pointed at the teller and said, give me all your money. We believe that. Why not these? Yeah.
Because it's, one, again, that's admitting that there's something else in the universe that has more power than you. And 2, it's a lot easier to believe an eyewitness that says he pointed the gun at the teller and give him all the money than saying that he shot the teller then died, just stood back up an hour or 2 later and gave him the money.
Yeah.
It's a lot harder to believe.
Right. And along with that, if you're believing that miracles happened and things like that, that some people, because of their worldview, don't believe that. But along with that, if Jesus is who he said he is, Jesus did the things the Bible reports, you can't just go, because he demands our allegiance. And most people don't want to give up the right to run their own. And that's hard to do, right? It's hard for us who are believers to do, right? But even we sometimes are like, yeah, thanks, Lord, really, but just sit this one out while I go do this thing I shouldn't do, right? Yeah, we do that sometimes too. Question 2. Write down some scriptures whereby the authors and their counterparts describe how they were eyewitnesses of certain events. What'd you find? Yes.
1 Peter 5:1, to the elders among you, and fellow elder, a witness of Christ's sufferings, and one who also will share in the glory.
Right. So I witnessed Christ's sufferings. I witnessed his what he did and who he was. What else? Yes. What does it say?
I wrote down what it says.
What?
God has raised this Jesus to life. We are all witnesses of that.
And after Psalm 148, 1-8, oh, I forgot to tell you about that part. Because of some irregularities in last week, I don't think that you are going to be prepared for the verse, especially since it's 8 verses, for the verse quiz on Wednesday. So you will take that next Tuesday. And then we're going to go into 1 Corinthians 15 and memorize a good chunk of 1 Corinthians 15, which is all about the resurrection. And and Paul's going to say that and then he appeared to more than 500 witnesses at one time, most of whom are still alive, though some have fallen asleep. What he's saying is, there's a whole lot of witnesses rose from the dead. We can go ask him. He's basically. And then 1 John 1, he says, what we have seen, what we have heard, what we have touched, this we declare about the word of life. So they were eyewitnesses to the resurrection. And then Paul, in front of Agrippa and Festus, says, these things weren't done in a corner. Like, everybody has seen what has happened. They might deny it, but they've seen it. They didn't. And then I'm going to answer the third one. I didn't tell you you had to do it, but I'm going to answer it for them. How do you know that the New Testament has reliable eyewitnesses? Listen, they make all kinds of, the New Testament makes all kinds of accurate details, eyewitness details, that have nothing to do with miracles. Just people, places, geography, Acts especially, is full of facts. And some of them people say, no, that wasn't true, and then archaeology proves it right. And then they have no problem with that, right? Yeah, there was a guy named Agrippa. Yeah, there was a guy named Festus. Yeah, the Bible's right about those details. They're just not right about the supernatural ones. Is that because they're not telling the truth, or is that because the people don't want to believe? Because they're supernatural. And I would say the latter, that they don't want to believe them because they're supernatural. I'll give you a second to catch up there. So equip one. Who are considered to be some key eyewitnesses in the New Testament? Name one. Yeah.
Peter.
Yep. Paul. Yep. John. Yes. Mary Magdalene. James, his brother. Pretty good eyewitness, right? Went from making fun of him to like, oh my word, oh my God. Yeah.
The rest of the apostles.
The rest of the apostles. Yeah. We have written testimony from John and from Paul and from Peter and from Jude and James, who were both his half-brothers. Both Jude and James were his half-brothers, who did not become believers until after the resurrection. So yeah, and many more, right? More than 500 witnesses at one time, as I told you. Number 2, describe whether Paul and Peter's defense of their eyewitness testimonies was credible or defenseless. Yes, Seth.
It was credible in the sense, like, when they're talking to kings and rulers of, like, other countries, or I guess it's Rome, they call it out, like, they call out, like, you know this is common knowledge. I don't know why I have it.
Yeah. These things weren't done in a corner at this point. Yeah.
I bet you like begging people to test what they're saying, challenge it, because they
You don't believe me? Go ask someone else, right? I mean, this might be news to you, but our basketball teams, after having never beaten OCA this year, have now beaten them 6 times between the 2 varsity teams. And I think 2 more on the JV games. Yeah. So if you don't believe me about that, I don't know. We got Grace here. There's other players, and some of them are credible. I don't know about Grace, but some of them are credible.
Yeah.
I think we should.
Sorry, which one?
Probably more credible. She's probably more credible than I am. So I better not say that. You're a good sport. So yeah. It's credible because they had everything to lose and nothing to gain by telling the story. I mean, when you go to your mom and you say, "I'm really sorry, I broke this vase," does she say, "You're lying"? No, she knows it's true.
Yeah.
Because you have nothing to gain by telling the truth, right? They had nothing to gain and everything to lose, including their lives, and they did tell this story. It didn't make them famous, a celebrity pastor. It didn't make them wealthy, like a singer. Um, it cost them their lives. They still spoke boldly. Yeah, we didn't accept the truth. Question 3. What is some evidence provided by Colin Heaver that confirms Luke as a solid eyewitness? There's so many, aren't there? Yes. An understanding of Jewish law, yes.
And probably the correct court names.
Right. Geographically, all kinds of things, ports and winds, and when that and times of the year when there'd be a storm. Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Right. Yeah. An understanding of Greek culture and Greek beliefs.
Like the proper flight is stairs.
Yeah. Even details about Roman guards and what they did and how they conducted themselves. What else?
Proper location.
Of what?
I say
Spell it for me. Lycia. Is it L-I-C? Oh, it isn't. Okay. What?
Lycia.
Iconium?
Lycia.
Maybe. I know there's a Lycia. Yeah, so topography, geography, languages, leaders, religious practices, customs, signs, all of that and more. And when you're going to give a detailed, and I'm not saying you do this,
I would.
but if you're going to tell a false story, are you going to put in?
I'd say yes, because that makes it more believable. So
It does.
It's like a half truth is more believable.
Yeah, but then you're more likely to get caught in that because the devil is in the details. There's a reason why that's a saying. The devil is in the details. If you're going to give details, you better be telling the truth because they're going to find out that something wasn't true. So yeah, you tend to give this broad sort of case for yourself, not saying, no, I was here then and here's what I was doing. Here's where we went. You don't do all that. What sort of evaluation do historians give Luke and his recorded accounts in the book of Acts? Yes. Right. And do non-Christian scholars agree with those? Believe them? Yes.
Used as a reference for other scientific and historical works.
Yeah. Yeah, it's used as a reference. Look, they accept the mundane details, like where Paul sailed and what was happening in Jerusalem, the fall of Jerusalem in AD. They accept all of that stuff, right? But don't accept the miracles. Yeah. They're right about all of this other stuff, but no, not the miracles. not the things that are supernatural. But if they're trustworthy, why would you not? Unless you have a prior commitment to and then, yeah, okay. Yep, that's it. That's where we stop. Okay, so here's what you're doing. I'll write it on the board. You're reading pages 261 to 268 and answering equip 5 and 6. 261 to 268. Start working on that.
You do it. Already done.
Okay, whatever you get done here means you don't have homework. At least as much homework as you get it done.